Hey everyone, welcome to another video by myself, Adam Lavelle. Hope you're all doing well. There was a challenge, the Sunday Funday challenge, where the inspiration, the theme had to be music, and I came up with the idea to try and recreate this image. This is the John Legend song, All of Me. I wanted to create it so there'll be myself here and Christy here, and in between us there'll be this mirror. First I took a picture of myself looking dashing, and you'll also see that his shirt is a round neck, and I took this picture, and then after I came to editing I thought, I got collars. So what I did was I used my polyagonal tool here, and then I basically created what I thought would be the shape of the round neck, and this is being done super quick. Right. So I made that selection, and then with my clone tool I just basically just took a sample of the shirt, and then I just kind of took out the collars. Again, the clone tool, I inversed the selection and just duplicated my neck. Again, doing it a lot better than what I'm doing it right now. Okay, so you kind of get the idea. Then I got rid of the green screen, and then I worked on the adjustments, doing a bit of fine tuning using the curves tool, by making certain areas darker and then making certain areas lighter, and then masking them, and then using the paintbrush and just drawing exactly where I wanted there to be light and where I wanted to be dark. Okay, so that's pretty much what I did for me. Then I took a picture of Christy, and I did the same thing. I cleared everything, so I made the pose using the Any Pose, have her wear some wet hair, and then I kind of cleaned it up. And as you can see, only the top part of her body is shown in some of her fingers, you know, so I wasn't too bothered about what was going on underneath. And there's a lot going on underneath which you don't get to see. Okay, so now I needed to create this reflection thing. So I'd worked on Christy, I worked on myself. This as the reflection. What I did was I flipped it, image rotation, flip horizontal, and basically I kind of used this much of the image, and I dragged it and brought it into my main image. And then you can also see, so that was going to be the tree part and some mountains, but then there's these bushes. So then I went on Google Images and got these kind of like leaves and things. Okay, so let's see how we put it all together. I brought myself into the image, and then using the curves tool I made some areas lighter and some areas darker, adjusted the brightness, the levels, and the gradient to make it black and white. So you can see from the original image there's some really light areas. You see these light areas from the light that's coming from here. So what I did was I added an exposure layer. So basically I went to the exposure, and then I just selected only the areas I wanted to be lit up, and then I added a black layer on top, and then I painted it black to make these areas darker, so this side appears to be a lot brighter. Okay, that's me. Then I needed to create this mirror, this window with the mirrored reflection. So what did we do? Okay, so this is the image that I took and I brought it in here, and you can see that I reduced the opacity and the fill. I added that light. Again, this is on a separate layer, and I added that bright light. Then I added the grass that I showed you here, and what I did is I just basically brought it onto the image and made duplicate copies, and then I reduced the opacity a bit, and then I made it a bit darker. You can see that there's this thing here, but I'll explain that in a sec. Then what did I do? I added this bit here. Now here I kind of cheated a little bit. I basically took this from the original image, like a little sample of it, by using the clone tool, and then I painted it on here, and then I brought it all the way down, right? And then using the transform tool, I just basically reshaped it. So now it's on top of the reflection. I mean, you can still see some parts of the reflection, which is fine. And then I had to bring Christy into the mix. So with Christy, I did this. I brought her in, and I played around with the brightness, and I used the dodge and burn. But what you can also see is that there's this like cast of shadow here, right? So what I did is on another layer, I've merged it down now so you can't see it, but I merged another layer, and I just literally, I'll just quickly show you, just put it over where Christy is. See now how I couldn't put this all in the text? I had to visually, verbally describe what I did, because there's no way I was going to be able to put this all in text. Anyway, so I basically just drew dark layer here, like this bit, just on Christy only, right? And then I just reduced the opacity and the fill to kind of create that shadow, right? So that's how I did that part. But then I wanted to make this part even brighter. So then I duplicated the layer, and then using my exposure, I turned it all the way up. Well, not all the way up, but a lot more than it was. And then masked it, and just kept this part with the high exposure, and the rest was as it was. Okay, so get rid of that. Then I used the dodge and burn to highlight certain bits, so you can see, like here, I made this part darker, some strands of the hair darker as well, and then I made her hair lighter. You'll also see, like with her strap, I cleaned that up a bit, because if you see the original, see how that kind of like hangs off her shoulder. So I cleaned that up, and then I also continued the hair as well. If you see there, the hair's missing, so I just used the polygonal tool and then just followed where it was, so that's where the hair would be like. And then I used the clone tool, and then I just continued that flow of hair. Okay, I wasn't going to be focused too much on the intricate details on this image because I knew that it wouldn't really show so much. So then that was Christie's part. Then, what did I do? I brought everything together and by pressing Control, Shift, Alt and then E, and then that stamps the image, and then I got this. Okay, and then I adjusted the brightness, the levels, the exposure, and then I stamped it again, and then with the Camera Raw filter, which is this one here, what I did, and then I made these adjustments here, like increase the black, the shadow and everything else, and then I added these dark lines. I missed a spot. I didn't explain how I did this part. So what I did was, so this bit is all still selected, so with my black ink I'm just gonna black brush, sorry, I'm just gonna paint over Christie real quick. Okay, and then I moved it and then press Control T and then I flipped it around. So it's kind of like that. Right? And then obviously you place it where it's got to go underneath Christie, so it would go, say, underneath here, so then that would create that shadow. I needed to erase because there was the this layer here with the reflection. This would have shown like the branches and everything in this layer. So what I did is let me erase all of everything underneath and above so you can see what I did. Okay. So now all I've got showing is this layer, but the selection of Christie's shadow. And then what I did is I went to the eraser tool and just on the reflection layer I just erased everything that would have been there, allowing the shadow to be consistent. So the more dominant. So if you see, like, it had all the background, so I just basically deleted anything that would have overlapped into this area. Right, this bit not so much because Christie's body would have been there. Okay, so hopefully that all makes sense, and that's how I did my image. That's it, that's my final image. So this is the clip that was my inspiration, and this is how I did it. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to comment below. Ask any questions, any other techniques that I have used, and if you have any suggestions on anything that I could have done differently, then feel free to share. Okay, happy editing. Take care. Bye.